Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Are you a bit tired of just taking black and white images and editing them how you know? Well, today we're going to try something new. It's something I've been aiming to teach you guys for some time now that maybe will help you instead of throwing your old images away into the trash bin. You can use them to try this new method, which I'm sure you guys are going to like. We'll be turning a day scene into a night scene. Well, let's head over to the computer and start the editing process. Today we'll be doing something totally different. As you can see in the image here, I've already transformed it into black and white from color. This image was taken in Hungary last November. And what we'll be doing to this image is we'll be turning a day scene into a moody night scene. So bear with me guys throughout the video and I'll show you my process of turning images from day to night. Well, let's get started. I'll be using Adobe Camera Raw for this editing process. Using Lightroom is just the same. And the first thing that we're going to do is I'm gonna adjust some of these sliders in the exposure panel. I'm going to start off by reducing the highlights. I'm going to increase a touch of contrast. I'm going to leave the shadows how they are, and I'll leave the black and the whites how they are. But I'll be decreasing the exposure quite a bit, because don't forget we'll be turning it into night. I think that should be okay somewhere here. We'll come back and adjust it some more if we need to. And now from here I'm gonna go down to the effects panel. I'm gonna give it a touch of texture, a touch of clarity, and quite a bit of dehaze. Don't worry about the clippings here on the blacks. And I'm going to increase a bit of sharpening. Just a touch around there. And now we'll be heading over to the masking panel, which is up here. And I'm going to start off by using the first mask, the linear gradient, which I'll be using for the sky. My aim here, always see what you want to do with your image before you start editing. And my aim here is to create the effect of a moonlit sky on the right hand corner here. And I'll be showing you in just a bit. Now I'm going to reduce the exposure to around there. And I'm going to use another linear gradient. And I'll be doing it on the left top corner. Somewhere there. And again, I'll be reducing the exposure. The next thing I'm going to do is use another mask, but it's going to be a radial gradient. And here we'll be creating that moon effect, and I'll be placing the mask somewhere here, which should be around, behind the clouds. I'm going to place it there, open it up, and here I'm going to increase some exposure. to around there. Next, I'm going to create another radial gradient, and I'm going to use another radial gradient here. I'm going to make it just a touch smaller, and I'll be increasing the exposure again. To around there. I'm going to use another radial gradient and make it even smaller. To around there. And I'm going to increase the exposure once again. And that should be enough. We can come back to this mask if we need to adjust them. Hovering over each mask will show you where you place the mask, and you can adjust accordingly with the sliders. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use another radial gradient on the light bulb here. I'm going to place it there, make it quite big, and I'm going to increase the exposure all the way up. We have some spilling over on the sky and top of the lamp here, but we're going to remove it by pressing subtract and selecting the brush, and we can paint away and remove where we spilled the mask. Should be okay. I'm going to create another radial gradient and place it again for the light bulb, and I'm going to make it even brighter. I'm going to increase the exposure and there we have a brighter light bulb. And again, I'm going to subtract where we spilled over onto the lamp cover and part of the sky here. And that should be okay. Now I'm going to do the same for the other bulb. I'm going to create another radial gradient. Place it there. Increase the exposure once again. Use a subtract brush and remove from the part here on the clouds and there as well. I'm going to use another radial gradient and do the same here. And I'm going to increase the exposure. Again, subtract with the brush, remove the spilling, and there we have our light bulbs. Now I can reduce the image size. I'm going to head out of the masking. And now we're going to create a glow of the light bulbs around the lamp post here. And we'll be doing that by using another radial gradient. Select radial gradient, and I'm going to place it just under the light bulb here. Turn it around, and we'll be creating the effect of the light post somewhere there. And I'm going to increase the exposure. I'm going to open up some more. Should be okay. Open it up a bit more because we have 2 bulbs there. Oh, that should be great. And now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use another radial gradient. And here on the left side, there was another lamppost, which we cannot see, but we can still create the effect of a lamppost. Turn it around and place the brighter part of the mask where you think the lamppost was. And I'm going to increase the exposure to somewhere there. And now I'm going to use a brush and we'll be creating a mask on the tree here where we have the light hitting the side of the tree. I'm going to increase the image size. And I'm going to paint on the right side of the tree here. If you press the right mouse button and click the up arrow at the same time, you can create a straight line just like that. And I'm going to remove with a minus brush where we spilled over onto the grass and a bit here. And I'm going to increase the exposure. Just subtle movements of the slider. And here I'm going to reduce the image. And now I'm going to use another radial gradient. And you see this house in the background here. I'm going to give the effect that they have light in the windows here. But we need to increase the size to about there. And I'm going to place a radial gradient. I'm going to increase the exposure all the way up. And here I'm just going to right click in the middle of the radial gradient and duplicate the mask. Grab the mask and move it to this side. I'm going to do the same. Duplicate the mask and move it to the other window. And now I'm going to head out of the masking, reduce the image size, reduce it a bit more. And now I'm going to go back to the exposure panel and I'm going to decrease a bit more of exposure to around there. I'm going to decrease it a bit more. And next, the last thing I'm going to do is use another radial gradient and I'm going to place it on top of the trees here. Just like we have the moonlight hitting the top of the trees. And I'm going to increase a bit of exposure. I'm going to move the mask out of the image and increase a touch of exposure. And I'm going to do the same for the water here. Excuse me, I'm going to duplicate the mask. Come on. Forget it. I'm going to use another radial gradient and I'm going to place it on the sea here. Again, I'm going to remove it from the image, increase the size, turn it a bit, and I'm going to increase the exposure just a bit, and that should be okay. I like to reduce the image size and look at it from a distance. Well, I hope you like the video, guys. I'm going to show you the before and after by pressing the P on the keyboard. And that's the daytime shot, and we've turned it into a night shot just like that. Well, I hope you liked the video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, a thumbs up, leave any comments which I will answer. And thank you for your patience, and I hope you learn something out of this video. Thank you, and I'll see you in a future video. The last time, before, and the after. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you later.